Today we are going to look at Baldur's Gate 3, because in preparation for the launch of this massive game, we have to go over a few important things which you actually need to know. It won't be a deep dive, as this video would probably be a few hours long, so rather see this as an overview or like an introduction for what you can expect if you don't know it already. So first things first, Baldur's Gate 3. It takes place 100 years after Baldur's Gate 2, and it's not exactly a direct sequel, so you don't have to play the first two games for getting into it and understanding everything in this world. But of course it never hurts, because there will be references to the old ones, and to know the story of this whole world is just a nice add-on, you know? It plays in the Forgotten Realms universe of Dungeons and Dragons, of which the game gets its namesake, Baldur's Gate, or also called The Gate, a gigantic city of huge importance in the world of Dungeons and Dragons. And the game will take place there, as the name says, and the surrounding city, which is the main area. There's of course so much more to know. And if you really want to make a deep dive into this whole story and history of this world, I would highly recommend you to check out the Forgotten Realms wiki page. But so to start in this journey, your first and most important step will be the character selection, which is like a whole own journey of its own, because it is a complex system. You can choose many things, and it is important that it is complex, because everything you will choose there can drastically influence on how the game will play out. So you can play the game from time to time, and it will, depending on your choices, have different outcomes, or just different storylines, or new things you wouldn't have seen otherwise. But to start it off, the first thing you will choose is the race. You can choose between up to 11 races, ranging from humans to dwarves, elves, halflings, githyanki, half-elves, tieflings, trolls, gnomes, dragonborns and half-orcs. And this is like the first step you will do. The next thing will be to choose your sub-race. But what is a sub-race? The so-called sub-races is where you can select between different types of peoples that hail from different parts of the world. For example, if you're choosing to be a gnome, you can take your sub-race in this category, like take forest gnomes, which are of small gesture and have a strong affinity to magic and craftsmanship. Or if you decide otherwise and take rock gnomes, they are especially hardy and knowledgeable. So already there will be variations. Each race has some pretty different racial strengths. Examples here are the elves that gets a bonus toward dexterity, which could make them really suitable for archer builds. There are a lot of other variations here to choose from, and aside from the different stats between races, you also get to choose a background for your character that boosts some of your skills as well. So you know, you already see there are coming a lot of things together, which will be a choice following a choice, and you will slowly create your own way on how you want to play the game. But aside from all these things, you can of course select a wide variety of facial options, skin colors, hairstyles, hair colors, eyes, and of course much more. You will see there are many things to choose from. But let's say we are done with our first step of creating our character here. We can choose our class, which will too have another wide range of options. There you can choose between a barbarian, a bard, a cleric, a druid, a fighter, a ranger, a rogue, a paladin, a sorcerer, a warlock, a wizard and a monk. The thing is, I won't go into them, because you could make a video to each of their classes, and I will make a video to them if you want to. But it is just an overview, so it's just there to give you a little bit of an image, because classes are ranging and you can make a deep dive into each class again. If you're taking a class and reaching level 3, you will get the option to pick another subclass. For example, if you pick a rogue, you will get the option to choose between a thief or an arcane trickster, and either of the subclasses providing you with different skills and abilities. And that you can imagine for all of the classes. And as you can see, it will bring you a lot of variety. So there's an immense opportunity to play it in different styles or just different characters. For example, if you are playing with a barbarian, it is mostly a physical character, and the playstyle will be extremely different than, for example, of a bard, which is like the singer of this universe, which uses songs and music music, to fight, or the support, you know? But if this is all too much for you and you don't want to create your own character, of course, there is an option, because the game has some pre-made ones, the origin characters, which are the official companion characters. There are Asterion, Gale, Will, Lascelles, Shadowheart, the Dark Urge, and Karlach. You have to think about them. Those are integrated characters into this world. So if you decide to pick them instead of creating your own, they will have their own unique background history which already is implemented into this world. So there will be things specifically to them which will appear. And if you create your own character, you will start at 0 basically. So the game developers also recommended to first off play with your own character, because you can experience the world from 0 on, and you will meet all those other origin characters throughout your journey, which is pretty cool, because if you decide to replay them and then pick an origin character, you already know some history and you know the other side of the character, so you can decide on which and how to play the game, and you know what's going on. So if we go to the next part, which is like basically the most important part in this whole game, the gameplay. I mean, in every game, of course. But when it comes to the gameplay of Baldur's Gate 3, the first thing I have to say, the combat is almost entirely turn-based. There are a few examples where you sneak up on enemies and so on, but you have to mostly think about it as a turn-based game. And yes, I know some of you will say it's boring, some of you know already those playstyles and it's the real shit for you, but the attacks feel pretty satisfying and powerful to use, and they're also fast. So I think you shouldn't look at it like a card game where you play a turn and then you wait like 30 seconds for your opponent to play out the next card and so on. No, it's not like this. So yeah, I understand if you're unsure, so basically what I would recommend you is just wait until next Thursday and see how the game plays out, watch some streams, and yeah, let's see. But to continue this in an old-fashioned D&D style, we'll roll a dice and see if we can go further into this overview, because in this world a huge gameplay element will be rolling dices. If you're lockpicking a chest, roll a dice. If you're trying to persuade someone, you will be rolling on whether you succeed in your endeavor or not. This is a huge part of it, because this is like how Dungeons and Dragons works, and this is also a huge part of it what will make this game so fun, because every time you roll a dice you won't know if you will succeed or not. So if you're trying to steal something, you can roll the dice, and if you miss it, you will be catched, or maybe something else. Maybe you can then use your talking skill and talk your way out of these situations. So there are so many opportunities which will make it really fun, I think, at least. But that's also a part where some major character decisions comes into play, because if you see that some decisions can give you some bonus points in dialogue specific attributes on rolling dices and so on, and you are one person which likes to play this whole game mostly through talking and persuade other persons, then take those decisions, because those are perfect for you. Which brings us right to the next point, which is the difficulty of this game. The basic mode will be the normal one if you don't change anything, but you can choose the story mode. This is the easier option, which has the feature that friendly NPCs are harder to kill, that traders have an additional 20% discount, and your characters have a +2 bonus to proficiency, making you even more likely to succeed at anything you have trained in. Then, as said, you have the normal mode, and of course for those who like it difficult, there's the hardcore mode. The enemy AI here will prioritize weaker targets and really go in for the kill, thinking more tactically, as well as having greater resources, spells and more to work from. It just depends on what you like into this, but yeah, decide for your own how hard you want it in this game. But the next point would be the gear. In RPGs, not only the gameplay and combat is important, no, we want loot. And well, there is a lot of it, even in the early access version. But I wouldn't go on like that it's an absolutely loot-based game like Diablo or something else, because you have to remember, Baldur's Gate is not an action RPG, it is an RGB. And pro tip, or maybe it's just me, but over the years I learned that maybe not looking up which is the best gear in this game is like the best way to play it, because I understand you want to have the best of everything, but sometimes it's just nice to go along and play with the things you find, because otherwise you won't even use anything in this game and you will just go through this one to basically just searching the best thing possible, and that's it. Then you have the end stage of the game and you probably won't ever enjoy the whole variation the game provides you. So that's just thing I see it, but I fully understand if you do it otherwise. So that sums all the categories up, which I just wanted to give you a quick overview so you can just make your own little picture about it. Of course you can watch other videos which make a better deep dive, but as I said, it is just an overview. But that's the last part I just want to go over real quick, is because it is a lot in this game, but how much is it actually? So how big is this game? So what you can expect is, as already told, there are like 12 classes, there are 46 subclasses, there will be over 600 spells, there are 308 passive abilities in the full version of the game, and to get access to all these spells and abilities you have to level up accordingly. Only with that it sounds a lot, but these aren't even the things which make this game that huge, because they said that the cinematics of the full game, according to the developers themselves, there will be 174 hours of just cinematics alone. I mean, this is a lot. Tell me if you're going to play it right away, what your thoughts are, or something else. And of course, I always appreciate ideas or thoughts about this video or something else. Just tell me.